Hi, my name is Kevin, and I'm a community manager at GridGain. I'm here today with GridGain founder and CTO Nikita Ivanov to share a little bit about the upcoming Apache Ignite Summit Cloud Edition. This is the premier event for developers who use Apache Ignite and in-memory computing to tackle the speed and scale challenges that they encounter in cloud environments. Nikita will be speaking with us at the event on November 16th about in-memory computing on the wave of cloud transformation. Hi, Nikita. Thanks for being with us today. How are you?
Hey Kevin, how you doing?
I just have a couple of questions for you about your presentation that you'll be giving at Ignite Summit. I'd like to start with what was some of your inspiration for creating the in-memory computing project that eventually became Apache Ignite?
So you're right. The original project was a GridGain project,
Okay.
and it dates back to, at this point, almost about 15 years back. So the idea was in the mid 2000s, and the idea for the memory computing project, or memory computing in general as technology, pretty much remained the same as then as it now today. It is an ability to run data processing pipelines much faster than it's possible with the traditional disk-based data storage technologies. And it stems from the simple fact: RAM as a storage medium is upward to 1,000,000 times faster than a spinning disk. And that massive discrepancy in speed, that's what really attracted me all those years back. That can we utilize it somehow? Obviously, there is plenty of technical limitations. RAM is much smaller typically than a disk or flash. That requires a combining many computers into the one cluster, and that leads you to distributed cluster computing, which is in of itself brings the whole set of problems, technical challenges to it. So it is a significant challenge problem. So everybody understood that RAM is faster. Very few people understand how to take advantage of that. So that was the fundamental idea behind GridGain originally as a memory computing platform.
Not many companies are open to trying open source software or open sourcing their own software. What were some of the reasons that you decided to donate Ignite to the Apache Foundation and make it open source?
Yeah, so we actually joined Apache Software Foundation about 7 years ago, and it's a time when ASF was really growing and it's becoming a household name for enterprise data processing platforms. Projects like Kafka and Spark and Hadoop and any other project in those ecosystems were all part of the ASF. And ASF today has a fairly unique position. This is a nonprofit place where essentially that stewardships the technology that runs this entire planet's data processing pipelines. And so it makes sense that for a project like GridGain and Apache Ignite, as we know it today, would be part of the ASF. It's the largest community. It is the place to be. It's as simple as this. It would, and from my perspective, that, the idea was to somehow get the technology in the hands of as many people as possible. And for the type of a project that GridGain and the Apache Ignite is, the ASF is the best place to be.
I think that's really great. Not many companies are willing to open source their own projects. So, Ignite Summit Cloud Edition is all about the cloud, obviously, and your speech is about in memory computing on the wave of cloud transformation. How do you see the future of Ignite in relation to the cloud?
Well, it is future. I don't think it has to do with anything Ignite specifically. I don't think I'm saying anything dramatically, new or surprising. The move to the cloud, and no matter how we're going there, directly or indirectly through it, several, two steps forward, one step back. In any rhythm or tempo, we're all going there. In my presentation, by the way, I'll talk about some of the historical challenges for in-memory computing, because it wasn't a very easy path, not for us, not for our friends and family companies, for many different reasons. If you look back let's say 10 years ago, you couldn't actually rent a good instance on Amazon with enough RAM or with enough, because sometimes, for memory computing, you really care about RAM and large clusterization because you want to, balance amount of cores in RAM. You don't want to have a single computer with a lot of RAM because you have a bottleneck on CPU. You also don't want to have, thousands of computers because, thousands of computers is a massive management and administrative headache. So the cloud providers were kind of, slow on intake on those instances. And then there's what I call execution model impedance mismatch, is that for many traditional databases, your SQL databases, for example, the execution model is very simple. It's sort of a client server or request response. You send the request to some amorphous cloud, and you get back a response. And that's in this model. Your Mongo, your SQL databases. In this model, it's really easy to create a cloud-based offering. In the memory computing systems, you typically deploy your code in the cluster because you want to have your code to be executed in place with the data. And that creates an enormous challenge that instead of a very simplistic request response protocol, you now have to manage a user code deployment in the cloud, in the public infrastructure. That brings us with itself, a lot of versioning, security, authentication problems, and all of this kind of can of worms. So there were and there are systemic challenges for memory computing to kind of be cloud native. I think we're solving it. GridGain specifically just released a massive product with GridGain Nebula for a fully managed SaaS offering for in-memory computing. And I think many other companies move in this direction. So we're not the first ones to be on the cloud, it's pretty clear. But what I'm trying to say is that it wasn't for the lack of awareness or trying. We've had, unfortunately for us, we've had the whole set of technical challenges that we needed to work through. And it took us, a couple of more years than the rest of the industry to do it.
That was very informative, and thank you for meeting with us today, Nikita.
Thank you.
This was just a taste of what's to come at the free November 16th virtual event. Sign up for free at ignitesummit.org, and we'll see you there.